Hello, everyone.
Hi.
It is week 5, so, right?
Week 5. We ain't doing it by weeks.
No, I'm just saying.
This is our 5th episode.
Okay, so season 1, episode 5.
There it is.
Of the Open Door podcast. I'm Chelsea.
I'm Bedford.
And we're so excited that you guys are here. I guess let's just get right into it.
Should we?
Yeah, I feel like, I don't know about you, but I enjoy podcasts that are not a lot of fluff. Like, there's not a lot of chitter chatter at the beginning. We're kind of just like
We have
jumping.
a whole segment of chitter chatter.
I know, but that's what I'm saying is like, I don't enjoy podcasts where I'm listening to it and it's kind of just like they're talking about their own stuff, like what they did that week or how their kids are or whatever. I don't necessarily like that.
All right, so let's quit the chitter chat.
Yeah.
Get right into it.
Yeah. All right, let's do.
So random stuff I found in the mail. The unnecessarily long
in the
name.
mail?
Random stuff I found in the news. The
Excellent.
unnecessarily long named segment.
Excellent. I think it's different every single time.
It is different every single time. I got to write it down and memorize it, or we got to actually come up with a real name.
No,
for
I like it the way it is.
Oh, it's so hard. Okay.
Yeah, I like it.
So this one's called Playing Stupid Games and Winning Prizes.
I love that.
Okay. Actually, it's just playing games and winning prizes. Yeah, I like it better that way.
Okay.
Okay. And so we're going to start with you like to start with the sad first so we can end on a high note.
Why are you doing another sad one?
I love sad ones, but this one's less sad.
Okay. Go ahead.
You already know how I feel about CrossFit.
Yes, I do.
So I'm going to tell you a story about this girl that went to CrossFit. She left CrossFit for a couple of years, decided to come back, get some work in. Okay. She did, I think it was 10 sets of 5 pull-ups, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden she realizes, hey, my arm is growing.
What?
Yeah. Her arm literally like exploded. Now, when I say exploded, it like turned into like a puff.
What?
She had rhabdo.
I don't know what that means.
So rhabdo is when you like severely damage your body to where like your liver gets mad and you put too much toxins in your body from working out too hard.
Oh my gosh.
And it's like a CrossFit phenomenon. Like those guys are the king of that. They like discovered it and then made it their own.
Here's my thing, and I will say this about CrossFit. They are, if they can stay healthy, the most elite athletes in
100%,
the world.
they're superhumans.
Yeah, they are, if you can stay healthy. So I did CrossFit for, 5 or 6 months?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it was the most intense exercise I've ever done. I've exercised hard for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And that was, I left and I threw up. I would go 5 days a week and I would throw up at least 3 or 4 of those days after I would work out. It was so hard.
But
I will say it's so hard on your body. It's so hard on your body. So if you can be mindful and take care of your body, I don't know that it's impossible to not get injured. But if you can, they are the most elite athletes in the world.
Yeah, they're super elite athletes.
But it makes complete sense.
Yep. So she woke up, one arm was just like huge. She ended up having to go to the hospital. They were worried about her getting liver damage because of essentially the toxins in your body start poisoning your body.
Oh.
And your liver tries to filter that out. It doesn't work out very well.
What in the world?
But watch out, CrossFitters. I know y'all be the kingdoms of Snap City.
Yeah, they're intense, but again, I don't. So we watched, what was that show? Like, Physical 100.
Oh my goodness, that was the best and the worst watching experience ever.
And I feel like the winner was a CrossFitter.
Oh yeah.
And so it's like and it's because it's everything. They swim, they run. They climb, they jump, they lift.
Strength to weight ratio.
Yes,
that's a big part of it.
They do it all. And so there's really...
Cardio's on point.
Yeah, there's literally nothing. I mean, and they teach you that there is no other place that you will learn endurance like a CrossFit studio or a CrossFit gym. They push you to your actual limit until you are on the ground, can't breathe, crying and vomiting. They push you so hard.
Elite athletes.
And I don't think it's necessarily good or bad.
No, it ain't
until it becomes good or bad for you. No, because I know a lot of people that do CrossFit and they're very healthy. But I will say that it takes a lot of health management as well. Like you have to be so conscious of your health management and you have to know when to stop, you know? But I did it and I can see why somebody that would happen.
Yeah. So that was winning
stupid
one? Prizes.
Yeah.
Right? That one's playing games and winning stupid
prizes. But this one's winning a good prize?
This one's playing stupid games and winning a good prize.
Okay. So sometimes that works.
We're going to take this out to Nebraska. We got the Dahl family. I will name you guys. Mr. Dahl.
Okay. Roald Dahl?
No.
Oh.
I hope not, because they already have enough money.
Okay. Go ahead.
Mr. Dahl wins the jackpot in the scratch. He goes to his truck stop. He wins the lottery a little bit. Comes home with $120,000.
Not a little bit. That's a lot.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, it is.
You know what though? This in the last 2 weeks, he's the second one in his immediate family to win.
No way.
Yes, sir. His son won $100K 2 weeks ago.
I'm just wondering.
I need to change my name. Dora ain't cutting it.
I just am wondering how I've lived a life where I have to go to the grocery store and pick between cottage cheese and yogurt because I can't have both of them according to my bank account. And yet some people are lucky enough to win the lottery 2 times in the same biological family.
That's crazy, ain't it? Now, I'm not going to say that they haven't had a chance to choose between the two. That is very, very possible, but that is the case. But how about that for some luck?
Yeah, I would like some of it.
Yeah, I'll be the first to say that I'm so glad that in Utah we don't have a lottery. I'm an addict, okay?
Yeah.
I'm a golfer, okay? Nothing beats me up like playing the game of golf and then I just go back like I'm going to do it on Saturday. Like, yeah, it'll be fine. I'm going to go again. So the lottery, gambling, ooh, that would just ruin us, okay? I definitely know that I would just be like, no, hon, I'll win next time because I do it all the time already. I live that life today.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I'm going to score low next time, I promise.
And then he comes home and he's like, I'm quitting. I'm done. I hate it.
Yep.
And then he goes right back. And so I'm certain that I would see a lot of like, this is the last loss, I swear, and then find more.
But in my defense, I did actually quit being a golfer. Mm-hmm. Okay?
We have this conversation regularly.
No, you said like it ain't true.
It's not. He said he is not going to be a golfer, which essentially for him means that he's going to stop caring about his score and he's just going to go out and have fun.
I haven't come back mad this year.
I mean,
give me my flowers. I'm demanding them because I have hit my goal.
Okay.
I've gone out with my buddies and been like, yeah, guys, I'm going to shoot 1,000,000 because I do. And I just dap up my friends and be a cheerleader and enjoy the sunshine.
Yeah, but
I ain't grinding. I haven't been to the range. When the last time I went to the range?
I don't know.
Exactly. Okay? No putting greens for me. I show up and I just go swing.
Yeah.
I'm social. I'm not a golfer. I'm a man that sometimes
except for when we went for your birthday. You went to the range and the putting green.
Yeah, but I used to go to the range just to go to the range.
Yeah, that's true.
Going to the range before you play around in golf is different. I still think that if you golf,
you're considered a golfer.
No, I ain't a golfer.
Okay.
I feel like if you aspire to lower your score, you're a golfer. If you're out there with a putting mat like I actually have and you're practicing every day, you're a golfer.
If you have a hitting net and a mat on the side of your house and you go out there 3 or 4 times a day? I'm just wondering.
I only go out there 1 time a day. I ain't trying to go out there 3 times a day.
If you aren't looking at my face right now on the visual format.
We got cameras. You want to look at them?
Yeah.
1 time a day, maximum.
No.
Yep. And then
that's not true.
And I'm not measuring my success. I'm not writing down. There was a time where I was writing down notes, counting up my shots, averaging the distances so I could be dialed in.
All right. So he just is a regular dude that goes to the golf course.
Yeah, get some swings in. Just like I shoot a basketball. I ain't a basketball player. It's a man that plays basketball sometimes. That's all I am.
Got it.
So, yeah.
That's lucky for them.
Yeah. Thank you, dolls. You know, if you want to sponsor the podcast.
With your $220,000.
We will put your books up on a podcast and see if we can sell a couple.
Oh, taking it back to roll. Man, I love that guy. So those are some good books. Matilda.
He did write. He did write some slappers.
He did.
Isn't that where the Wild Things are?
No, The Twits, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Really?
Mm-hmm. He wrote George's Marvelous Medicine.
I don't like that book.
I like that book.
Seems conniving.
It is conniving, but also...
I was like, should I be reading this to my son?
There's a book that he wrote called SEO Trot, and it's about this old man that lives above... He lives in an apartment complex, and he lives above an old lady that he has a crush on. And she has a turtle that she's trying to get bigger. And so he, in order to have contact with her, tells her that if she says these magic words to the turtle every day, the turtle will get bigger. And so he tells her to say SEO Trot, which is essentially tortoise backwards, right? And she does, but then every day when she goes to work, he takes the turtle and replaces it with a slightly larger turtle.
My man be turtle swapping.
Yeah.
All right, that's genius. I'm gonna have to read that one. I haven't read that one.
I think it's downstairs. We should have Riker
we have it
read
here.
It. Mm-hmm.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I think Riker would like it. But anyway, I loved Roald Dahl. I love the Twits. Every time we see James Harden, I say he reminds me of Mr. Twit in the Twits.
That's
his
cool.
Nasty beard.
First off, his beard is nice.
It's ugly.
Look, if I could put a beard on, no, it's
There's
not
probably
ugly.
like sardines in there.
No, it's clean. It's fresh to death. That thing is sparkling. Okay. He has some nice
hiding
facial
his
hair.
teeth.
It is hiding his teeth. It does serve a purpose. James Harden gains at least 2 or 3 points on his attractive scale just because of his beard.
Whatever. It still reminds me of the Twits.
I wouldn't say he gains it. He just avoids losing it.
He just...
It's different.
Yeah, no.
But if I could grow a beard, like, look at this. Look at how bad this is.
Remember, not everyone can see you.
I ain't shaved in how long?
I don't know.
It's probably been like 5 days. I got no facial hair. It's
and
so
that's
bad.
cool with me. Listen,
I got no chest hair. I can't wear no V-necks. It's terrible.
He can wear a V-neck.
Don't nobody want to see my shiny chest?
I do.
No.
Wow. Who are you trying to impress besides me?
I mean, you want some respect. You want to see some hair coming out.
No, you don't. That's disgusting.
Nah, I look like a 12-year-old boy. Only Diddy wants to see my chest.
Okay, gosh. All right. Okay, on that note. Okay. So I was going through my Instagram. I feel like that's where I get most of what I decide to talk about
that's
because
what you do for a living.
That's what I do. And there's lots of good topics of conversation on there. And so one of the ones that I wanted to talk about that I feel like we haven't talked about at all thus far, which is nice. No, not at all. And this is for people who don't have kids. Like I wanted something that is relatable for people who do not have kids.
Is it relatable to us? Because I feel like our kids take over everything.
Yes. We're going to talk about, so I get messages from people all the time saying like, I wish that I had a relationship that was like as perfect as your guys' is. And I wish like, do you guys ever fight? Like, what is the secret to having like a healthy relationship? And so we're going to talk about marriage and not even with children, not being parents, not just specifically about relationships and like maybe where we struggle and maybe where we feel like we do a good job.
Okay.
So that's what we're going to talk about today.
All right. So first and foremost, we got to just lead off with the truth. Y'all have been had. I mean, what?
We're not on the same page.
No, we're not.
With that. Okay, fine. Yeah. No, we definitely fight. We definitely do not have a perfect marriage. Like
we work at it.
Oh yeah. I mean, and like, here's the thing, and I will lead with this. Being married twice, I have been in a relationship where we literally didn't fight ever. And I didn't know any different. I met him when I was 14. We got married when we were 18. Like I didn't know any better. And so when we were getting divorced, all of a sudden there was this like laundry list of things that I did that pissed him off, things that he hated, things that I did that like made him feel angry, whatever it was, that I just didn't even know about. He just never talked to me about it ever. And I was like, why is this the first time I'm hearing about this? Like, why is this just barely happening? And like, I kind of just learned after that not fighting or arguing ever, like never having any disagreements, is not actually a sign of a healthy relationship.
This is true.
Like that doesn't mean violence. Like that doesn't mean calling each other names, yelling at each other, being disrespectful, like not that, but never arguing, never fighting. Like that's more just a sign that somebody doesn't feel comfortable speaking their truth.
Everybody just sweeping stuff under the rug.
Yes.
So there's not really any like, you're not solving any issues. You're just letting them bubble.
Yeah. Well, and then the next time it happens, it just gets worse
and worse.
I mean, I think we all know somebody that is like that, you know, where it's like all of a sudden it's like, well, 2 years ago. And it's like, what?
2 years ago? I don't even remember what happened.
Yes, exactly. And like all the details are now kind of blurry about it.
Because I don't recall the occurrence.
Exactly.
It's messed up.
Exactly. And so I feel like being able to like speak your truth in your relationships, talk about how you feel, talk about what hurt your feelings, those types of things are super necessary. And I think every healthy relationship has disagreements, like as you should. And so it's more so about how you communicate those disagreements.
So you probably can hear this, and I'll work on this audio, but
eventually we're gonna have a studio. I said that already, but we are.
This is true. But you know, in true we got some builders building outside, because what happened a couple weeks ago, maybe 6 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, there was a hailstorm. So every house is pretty much getting new roofs, and ours should be happening in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So
if you can hear the like
little hammering, some tap tap,
that's what it is.
We got some builders building.
That's all right.
And they're gonna enjoy a very nice new roof, sponsored by whoever is their insurance, because a lot of houses got obliterated. It was crazy.
It was so wild.
But what was you saying?
No, so I was just saying that like knowing how to communicate, right, and being able to revisit topics that, and I think that maybe that's where we start, is we just talk about like, because we don't agree on everything.
No.
Right. And sometimes those conversations are pretty easy. Sometimes we say, this is how I feel. This is how I feel. We say, okay, where can we meet in the middle? All right, I'll compromise. You compromise, whatever that looks like. And sometimes it doesn't go that well.
Yeah. I already forgot the question. I was paying attention too. But
no, I'm just saying like,
question?
Yeah, well, I mean, really not necessarily a question as much as just the concept of like, sometimes the conversations are easy to be had and then sometimes they're not. And I think every couple has had a conversation like that where it's like, we're not coming to a resolution. And maybe the question in that situation is, then what? Right?
I think when it gets to that point, when you're like, we're not coming to a resolution, I think the idea is just to remember take the big picture, right? And so I know a lot of times, if we ever get to that spot where we're actually not coming to a resolution, which does happen, like it gets heated sometimes, we're like, nah, we got to figure this out. But I think the thing that helps us the most is that we remember that at the end of the day, regardless of if Chelsea agrees with me or not, we're having this argument because she's fighting for us, if that makes sense. Okay?
Right.
So we're on a team. She wants our team to win, whether it's something to do. I can remember the last time we had this conversation. It was about our kids, right? So even though this ain't for parents,
it's just a good example.
But a good example is we had our kid who was essentially being bullied by another kid. And my response was like, all right, well, just give him a 2-piece and a biscuit, bop, bop, bop. And then that kid will have to bother somebody else. And Chelsea is fundamentally against teaching our kids to give another kid a 2-piece and a biscuit.
Not necessarily. Let me just clarify really fast. I feel like, because I was most certainly raised this way, actually. My dad taught me, you will be in trouble if you start a fight, but you will also be in trouble if you just get pummeled, right? Yep. That's how I was raised. So for me, it was more along the lines of, I don't know that my specific child is very good at discernment about when it would be appropriate to exercise that, right?
We could teach him that later.
So that's where Bedford and I were disagreeing, because I was like, you know, obviously if he is being actively picked on and this child pushes him or hits him or whatever, we have as a team told him, you can hit him back. Like, we're done, because we've gone to the school, we've done all the stuff, and that's a story for a different day. But I just have a hard time teaching it to this specific child because I just feel like he might abuse that
He may
a little bit, and
abuse it.
I don't like it. So that's where we disagreed. Okay, so you can continue.
And as you can tell, we're still a little bit.
Yeah, we don't
a little
agree.
bit disagreed. Okay, we are still not on the same page because I'm like, yeah, we'll just figure that out later. Once he crosses the line, we'll be like, hey, that was the line, you crossed it, and then we can work from there.
Nope.
But so we have this disagreement. This is a live disagreement right now. It's happening today. And I think for me, I always take into consideration that like Chelsea wants what's best for my son. And I believe that Chelsea believes that I want what's best for my son. And even though that what we think is best for our son is not the same currently right this minute, we're still fighting for the exact same thing, right? Yeah. And so it's still heated. And there'll be some times where we're like, all right, we got to talk a little bit more about this. And there'll be some times where we're like, hey, we just got to let it go for a minute. And we're going to explore other options. We're going to do some other things. And then we'll get back to it. And then we'll let it go. But at the end of the day, I know that she disagrees with me because she wants what's best for my son. I don't know that I agree with that same plan.
Sure.
But I know that her heart's in the right place. So we're actually fighting for each other, quite frankly.
Right.
And that's important to take into consideration because when you take that into consideration, you kind of leave all the other crap out. You know, we're not going to be arguing about whether we should take this and take that and then bring in the time that I didn't bring out the trash and the time that she spent, you know, too much on Amazon or whatever. Like, we're not doing any of that extra dancing because we're focused on the one thing and we're focused on each other. Yeah. And I think that's where we do a decent job, if not a really good job, is things, for the most part, never get to the point where we're now like just dragging stuff in. Like, it's happened. Right, we're not perfect.
Yeah, no.
But
I do feel like we do that really well. One of the things that I think we could do better at, and I think that most people will probably relate with this, is that I'm a let's talk about this until it's over person. I'm not very good at saying like, okay, this isn't going the direction that I want it to go, so maybe we need to take a break. Because in my mind, I'm like, this isn't going to change. Like, it doesn't matter if we talk about it now or if we talk about it in a week and a half from now. It doesn't matter. We're still going to be in this spot, so we might as well just fight it out. Like, I'm very much that person. And like, not only that, but, and I think, again, most like couples can probably relate to like that, like, angry roommate phase where you're not really talking to each other. Like, you're in the same house and you kind of just walk by each other like that person doesn't exist because you're not actively fighting, but you're also not happy with each other.
She hates that.
I hate that. I hate it. Like, it is so uncomfortable. And so because of that, I am the person that's like, no, let's just get this over with. And Bedford is not. In fact, Bedford's a runner. So Bedford will be like, okay, I'm not talking about this. I'm getting in my car. I'm leaving. I'm going to see a freaking movie by myself. Nothing makes me more angry. Like,
it's true. It's true.
And so he goes to a movie, comes home, and he's like, all right. And I am like fire mad, so livid. Or he'll like go for a drive. And I'm like, what in the world are we doing right now? Like, you just left me home. Because then, you know what I'm doing? And this is also probably something women can relate to. I'm sitting at home having an imaginary conversation with you.
Oh, yeah. And I'm losing.
For hours.
Can't even defend myself.
Yeah, for hours. You're for sure losing. Like, I am like, this is what I'm going to say. And this is what I'm going to say. And this is what I'm going to say. I'm saying it out loud. I've literally had the kids sometimes be like, who are you talking to? And I'm like, mind your own business. Okay, I'm preparing for war. Like, I am so angry. But then he comes home, chill as a cucumber. Like, totally fine. And I think we could both do a better job about communicating, number one, like communicating the need for a break.
Yeah.
But then, and like respecting that break, but then also being respectful of the other person's timeline as well. Like, understanding my level of discomfort with just leaving it.
That's true.
And like being, you know what I'm saying? Like, there has to be a balance there.
Yeah. And I think there's a difference because it probably even goes back to how I was raised. Because honestly, I think that's just how we handled it at my house. We just comfortable, like, fine, you know, we're going to let this sit because we got each other and that's it. That's all. And like, it's just going to be a little bit uncomfortable. It'll be fine in a couple days maybe. And we're cool with that. But
your family also is going to bring it up 2 years.
For sure. Like, and so I don't know. For me, I think part of it is there will be times where I get so maybe frustrated and I'm not cool as a cucumber. Like, I'm cool until I'm not.
Yep.
Right. I go 0 to 100 super fast. I won't even say fast.
No, it's 0 to 100. Well,
I got
it's
snap quick acceleration, but it takes a minute to get there.
I would say it's 0, 0, 0, 0, and then 100. Like there are no numbers in between.
Yeah, I don't got no.
It's 15, either 20, you've got 25, control 35. Or there's no control.
And there's other factors at play too. Like if I'm hungry, okay.
Oh yeah.
Then I'm not coming off 100 until I eat. It doesn't matter what happens. Like I gotta eat, and I'm not gonna be happy until I,
But I also think that makes sense because if you look at my family dynamic with my sister, like my siblings and my parents,
y'all be arguing all the time.
Not all the time, well, but we pop off immediately.
Yeah.
Like it's like, there was this one time, and maybe my sister will hear this, but one time, Bedford's allergic to dogs, and so are our kids. And one time Bedford, her dog was running around our car while we were trying to get in the car. And he was like, don't let the dog in the car. Don't let the dog in the car. And then he jumped in. So he pulled him out by the scruff of his neck and like threw him onto the grass, right? Which like was really, it sounds worse than it is. It was not. He just like,
the grass was
dropped him onto the grass. Like it was literally right there. But my sister was like, hey, don't touch my dog like that. Right. This was years ago. Yelped. This was probably like, 7 years ago?
Yeah, it was a minute ago. That dog's dead.
I came off the chain. Like because that is how my family deals with it. Like I flew in that house and I was like, don't you ever talk to my husband like that again. I will whoop on you. Like because that is how my family deals with things. Like if we have an issue, we're talking about it right now and we're yelling about it right now. But generally speaking, 30 minutes later, we're like, all right, cool. Like I get it. Yeah. I mean, there's been a few like situations where it was extended, but it's because like there was some problems there, like deep-rooted problems. But for the most part, things that just piss you off, like we're yelling about it now.
Yeah.
And then it's over. And it's not coming up again in a couple of years from now for the most part because we yelled about it and we got all of our feelings on the table and then it was over. Now, there are obviously pluses and minuses to both, but I think that is exactly why we deal with things the way that we do.
It's just we were
raised because that's how we were raised. That's how the dynamic was in our household. Yeah. Absolutely.
And so for me, like those are like when I'm like, I got to step away. I think 87% of the time I step away, I'm putting food in my stomach. Like just look at the bank account. You'll see real quick.
Just pay attention. Right. We got in a fight on September 1st.
You go through and then all of a sudden there's a charge at Carl's Jr. Right. like my man, this, whatever it is, it's going to be delightful. And then as soon as I eat, I'm a little bit cooler. Right. And so.
Who would you say is the first to apologize?
Oh, every time you.
Not every time.
I've worked at it because you said, hey, you don't ever apologize. And I'm like, yeah, that's probably true. And then, but you are the one that like, I'll have to proactively be like, I should apologize.
I do think that it has been something like, again, I actually have a bad habit of apologizing even when I know that I wasn't wrong. Just because I hate fighting with you specifically. Anyone else, y'all can, listen, I am not a controversy, like afraid person. Like I'm fine.
No, she is not, she's not battle averse. If we
No, I'm not.
Averse.
I'm not
trying to avoid
Here's the thing.
conflict.
I'm not out here trying to start a fight, but I'm also certainly not afraid to fight you.
I don't.
It depends on the time of the month. But like I'm not out here trying to start a fight, but I'll fight you if you want to fight. Like but specifically like with you or with my family or with my close friends, like I don't want that tension.
You don't want the heat.
I can't live in it. And so I'm fine to fight with you about it, but I want to fix it right now. And so that's why like I've actually actively been working on not apologizing for things that I genuinely do not think I did wrong. Like in situations where I'm like, okay, I will sit and evaluate and be like, what did I do? Did I do something? Like, where could I have done something? Because if I can apologize even for one small thing.
Yeah, you go and apologize.
I will. And that usually means that you're like, I'm sorry. Like, and then it's over. But sometimes I will sit and evaluate it and I'll be like, I don't think I could have done anything different. Genuinely, I do not think I could have done anything better. And in that situation, it is so hard for me to be like, all right, I'm going to wait it out.
Yeah.
Because, but I will say, I think that you've gotten better at that.
No, it's because you said you never apologize. I was like, yeah, I probably don't. And then I literally was like, It's not
choking
well
on that
within.
pill.
That's not well within my skill set. Look, I'm good at a lot of things. Okay, I'm kind. I'm an empath. All right.
No.
Stop.
Hard pass.
Yeah.
Skip over that. Cut that part
Christ-like.
out. Okay.
Lots of good things. Real talented. A lot handsome sometimes. But yeah, no, apologizing not my best skill. Like I'd rather just like, and I. Except for and even with my family, we don't really apologize.
No.
We just like, all right, cool, we're straight, and that's it. The head nod, it's like it's over. That's it. That's all. We moving on.
Nuh-uh. I want an apology. You're gonna say sorry to me.
So that, like, it's like I know you love me, I love you, and we're gonna just let it go. You mean that you're sorry, okay?
Yeah, that's no, 100%. Well, and it's like we teach our kids that, right? Like when someone says sorry to you, we teach our kids not to say like it's okay. Like we teach our kids to say thank you for saying sorry, because apologies are important, and having somebody tell you that they recognize that what they did was hurtful or wrong, etc., like that's valuable. And so when someone says I'm sorry, or like especially with our kids, somebody will say it's okay, and I say nope, we don't say it's okay. We say thank you for saying sorry, and we don't say that to each other either. Like when we say sorry, we don't say it's okay, like because it's not right.
I'm actually, I feel like I've had to like practice at it, because I think I quit saying sorry because like a lot of times I would start saying sorry and then just get mad again. Like, no, I ain't. Like,
well, maybe it's because again, you were apologizing for the wrong reasons. Right. And so, so I think that that's something that we could probably work on too. But, what other things aside from communication? So like, we've kind of talked about that. We've talked about communication, like, it may be some conflict resolution, but like what other things do you think are I think pillars of a strong relationship?
The number one thing that we do is we watch how we talk to each other.
Yeah.
We don't really cuss at each other. Like that's something I know we're actually elite at. Even when I'm mad.
I'm worse than you at that.
Yeah.
And like maybe once a year.
Not even.
Yeah, like it's literally our track record is like maybe once every other year. I don't think Bedford, maybe like in a conversation, but not directly towards me ever. And I probably have a worse track record.
Yeah, no, I don't we don't call each other names. We keep it at least respectful that way. And that's something I'll say first and foremost, that's something that I'm really good at deciding when I'm using that power. Because if you just cut me off at cut me off at the light, it's on. And and I think it's because I know which relationships I care about and which ones I don't. Like, because I feel like that can be damaging and that can stick is when you are disrespectful towards like people in your family. And like you can have an argument, but I don't need to be calling you this and this and dirty that or whatever. You know, like that's like if that comes out of my mouth, there will be times where in your subconscious, you're like, does he really think that? And
and we've had that conversation.
It's hard for me to be like, no, I don't really think that. I just said that because I was mad. Nah, forget that. So like,
we've had that conversation.
And quite frankly, I will say it to people that I do think it. I'm like, that's fine. You could be a dirty bit of, you know? You know, we're trying to keep this family friendly. Dirty, yeah. But that's something that we do really good at. Like there's no slip ups, there's no mess ups for years.
Yeah.
We don't do that just because I feel like that kind of stuff sticks. And it does. Like I'm not trying to mess my wife's self-confidence up. I'm not trying to mess up how she feels, how she thinks I feel. Now we do disagree
regularly,
right? I think. Yeah. And there's some things that we do argue about, and hopefully things change. Like one of the biggest arguments we've ever, I wouldn't say it was a big argument, but it was a continual one. You remember this?
Probably.
Diapers.
Oh
my gosh, we got into it a lot about diapers.
I mean, here's the thing though, and I would say that a lot of these things that we can't really like be on the same page about came up when we had kids, like exponentially worse when we had children. Yeah. But here's the thing. I had my 5th baby. Okay. And, 5 children. I had 3 children at home full time. Like they were home with me all the time. And I had 2 children in diapers. And I was drowning in diapers. And I had, my 5th baby was a newborn. And we didn't have a diaper genie. Like we didn't, and those end up stinking anyways. I don't care what anybody says.
I need to work on that.
Whoever develops those, can we come up with? I'm sure that there is. Actually, our youngest is 3. I'm sure that there is a better solution. But I would change so many diapers a day, and I would just go and put them by the front door, and then at the end of the night, they could all go out. But I was not going to the garbage can 10 times a day. Literally, that is not an exaggeration. I had a 2-year-old, and I had a brand new baby, and those little tiny diapers get wet so fast. And I was not walking out to the garbage can 10 times a day. And he would come home from work and see this pile of diapers, and he would get furious.
I just felt like I was walking into a pile of crap.
Yes.
Like literally just walk in and like a whiff of crap and smell.
And I get it.
And I was like, why are we doing this? Like, we got to come up with something. Let's put them in a trash bag, in a bag, so it doesn't smell or something. And we would get hot about it, right?
Because I felt like I am doing my best. Like, I am literally drowning. I can't take a shower. I'm in the same clothes that I've been in for like 4 freaking days. I'm so tired from like feeding this child all the time. And like, alive. Yes, like I am exhausted. And you're going to come home and complain about the diapers. Like, give me a break. I would get so irritated. But I think that that's what causes so many disagreements is like, the inability, because like looking at it now, I can totally see why he would come home from work and that would just be the first thing that he walked into and that would just tick him off. Like I can totally see that. But in that moment where I literally felt like I was barely surviving, I was like, if it pisses you off so bad, take him out. Like,
no, and I would.
And he would, but I was just like, leave me alone. Like I'm so tired.
But that's something that I would like, you just always leaving the diapers out, you diaper leaver outer, you know? And so those are things like, like I wouldn't hold back on, but I'm not about to call her this or call her anything disrespectful because that would stick. And I do not need that sticking. Like I need my wife at all times. And I hope you feel that way. I don't know, but no, I hope you feel that I do respect you.
Yeah,
I do
absolutely.
think the highest of you. I think you are the most perfect person for me and the most perfect person to raise our child. Like you need to know those things for sure. And regardless of whether we're agreeing on whatever it might be, like diapers, how to raise our kids, whether or not like what the color of our next minivan is going to be, like you still need to know, like I respect you. And so because we're in this for the long haul, like I'm not trying to do anything that like I'm not about to lose my wife because I can't have a conversation about diapers in a way that makes sense. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And so I think, I mean, and I agree. I think like, you know, there are people in our lives that I really admire how they speak to each other. And, you know, I watched that with my parents. Like my parents didn't call each other names. They didn't they fought like all the time, you know, like, and that was fine, but they didn't call each other names. And, you know, I've seen and heard of other relationships where they do that. And it like is actually shocking to me. And so I do think that because, again, it speaks to like this isn't just a disagreement about a topic. It's a disagreement about who you are. And I think that like I don't respect who you are as a person based off of this decision, right? Like name calling essentially is just like it's the disrespect of an individual.
And I can like I'll be the first to say like it is. And I can see why people would not see it that way. But I can also see why 100% it would be received that way.
Yeah.
Right? So I've been called, like, I remember, so I way back in the day, I was working at the bank, right?
Yeah.
And I'm a teller at the bank. I'm in college. I'm still working. And I had a guy come in. It was a black guy. And we're in Utah. So normally, you know, a black guy comes in. I see him like, hey, what's up, fam? You know, we have this understanding, right, that we're in Utah. There's a lot of white people around. We're on the same fight, same struggle, whatever it is, right? And so this guy comes in, and he's got a check written out to the company that he wants to cash. Now, it's the company that he works for, and he's like a door-to-door salesman selling like cleaning supplies. I don't even know what he's selling, but it was like cleaning supply company, check written out to the company. He wants to cash it out in his name, and it came from our bank. And I'm like, nah, fam, I can't do that. He's like, well, why can't you do that? And then he called me, and I was like, well, it's because of this, and I'll get in trouble. You know, it's nothing to you or anything like that. But because it's written to the company, it's got to go to the company's account, right? So it is a little dicey on his side. And he immediately looks at me and goes, "Hey, you're a house N-word." And I'm like, dang. And that hurt my insides. Like, he just did not, like, he immediately unblacked me, right?
Well, and it was like an attack on your character.
Yeah.
And I think that that's exactly what we're talking about, is there is a difference between someone's character and like their opinions and beliefs around how something should be handled, or, you know, whether or not something is important. And I think that when you start throwing out words, you start to attack who someone is as a person, rather than just like their belief system around something.
Yeah.
And I think that that's where, you know, you run into problems. Like, I don't know. I definitely feel, even when we're arguing, I feel like I would never say like my husband doesn't respect me. Right.
But I just remember, like, for me, when he did that, I was like, it took me like a couple of days, like, yo, now my confidence is shook on a stranger that I did the right thing.
Which you could have lost your job.
I could have lost my job. I did the right thing. 100% not wrong. Like, I know that I did the right thing. But then all of a sudden now I'm like, am I though? Am I black enough? He done took my blackness away right away. Like.
Right.
And I know that can happen to somebody else. And especially if a stranger could strip it that quick.
Yeah.
I'm like, heaven forbid I do that to my spouse or my kids. Like, and so that's something that we try to do even to our kids. Like, there are times where I'm like, bro, you are a clown, or don't do stupid things. But I really think to myself, like, should I say you are a clown or you're doing clownish things? Because I don't want my kids to believe that they are a clown.
Right.
Or an idiot or anything like that.
Well, words matter.
Yeah, because if I strip their confidence away, that could stay forever.
Right.
Right?
What do you think about, like, what else keeps a marriage exciting? Like, maybe flip the script a little bit.
Okay.
Like, in a marriage, we're not going to talk new marriage. Okay, we can maybe do that another time. We've been at this
for 10 years. Okay.
But after 10 years, what keeps a marriage exciting, regardless of whether you have kids or not?
I think new experiences is a big part of it.
Yeah.
Right? So we do a really good job and proactively try to, and maybe it's not even that new, like, honestly, a new restaurant, sometimes just a night away without the kids, or just sleeping not in our bed.
Yeah.
Like, simply like, oh, we're going to drive 45 minutes away. It's not even 45 minutes. What is it? 30 minutes to Salt Lake City? And we'll just spend the night up there. There's traffic. I could probably get up there in 20 minutes right now. But nah, that's aggressive. But new experiences goes a long ways, right?
Yeah.
And so even small things like on my birthday, what did we do? We went golfing. Now, we don't go golfing together very often. I think we've done it 3 times.
Yeah.
And this was the first time we've gone without like the rest of her family. Normally she
just
comes.
the 2 of us.
And so those kind of things where we're spending time together, and we're not actually we're not working, because I think we spend a lot of time together now, but now we're just working. So we're either shooting a video, editing a video, coming up with concepts, ideas. But like for us, new experiences where we're just together goes a long ways.
Yeah. Well, I think it's, we had this conversation actually when we went golfing. I think it's all about intentional time.
Yep.
Because I think that, you know, and maybe this is a little bit more, I guess it's very dependent on your situation. But I feel like before we had kids, which, I mean, we've always had Jax, but he was going back and forth to his dad's for a while. And so there was time where we were together all the time, right? And like, it was just the 2 of us. And so it didn't feel like we needed to be very like, this is intentional me and you time. Yep. No phone, no TV, or I mean, you can watch TV, but like there's no distractions. We're not working. It's just us time. Like, and structuring that and making sure that we get that is even more important now that we have kids. But I think that 10 years in, it's really easy to become really complacent and be like, oh, well, I see them every single day. And like, they're there when I wake up and they're there when I go to bed for the most part, you know, and I'll see them at some point. Like, it's just, you fall into this routine of just constantly being with someone. And so I think scheduling intentional time is so important. And whether that's at home, like, hey, you know, maybe we're in this, and we've been in this phase for to it, right? Pretty like much recently. Our whole marriage. But it's like, we can't afford to go anywhere. So what we're going to do is after the kids go to bed, we're going to do a puzzle.
We've gone on walks, put the phone away, because that's the tough part. Is I think it used to be way
especially because our
easier.
job is on our phone, and so it's hard to disconnect from that.
It used to be way easier, I think, to do intentional time, but like now it's like, man, I always got that. I'd be charging my phone twice a day.
Yeah.
And so for us, it's like a simple walk. Like, I'm gonna hold your hand. We're gonna walk, a mile and a half.
Yeah.
Or, so little things like that, or other little things like day-long adventures. Like, we got one coming up where we're going to Denver for no reason other than we're gonna see our friend T-Pain, right?
And Akon.
Can't
forget Akon.
But we mess with T-Pain. We're T-Pain fans.
This will be our second 24-hour trip, though.
Oh, second 24-hour trip.
This is our third T-Pain concert, our second 24-hour trip just to see T-Pain. So we do love T-Pain. But
Pizzle.
I think that there are just definitely phases to what that looks like.
Yeah.
There have been years where we have gone on a 7-day trip, just me and you, every single year.
Yeah.
Like, one time a year,
Mexico,
going away. We've gone to a lot of places. We've gone on cruises. We've gone to multiple places in Mexico. We've gone to California multiple times.
Destin, Florida. Ooh, that was a good trip. We need to go back to Destin.
We love doing that. And that was, honestly, if you are not getting away with just your partner, try to save the money. It's
game changing.
Marriage solidifying. Like, we went to Mexico. We went to Cancun a couple years ago, and we would go and we'd be like sitting somewhere waiting for dinner or whatever. And there would be a seat available, and I'd be like, no, I'm just going to sit here. And I would just sit on Bedford's lap, and he would hold me. Like,
and was the days.
Yeah. And, you get to wake up when you want, go to bed when you want. You get to relax when you want. Like, there was days that I would sit and read and he would fall asleep, or, it is so connective to be able to be away for that amount of time, get the rest you need. Like, you have to figure out how to do that. However, the last 2 years, we have not been in a position to be able to afford that. And so it's something where you have to put intentional connective time on the schedule somehow, some way.
So we've had a couple day-long trips. We picked up puzzling. Puzzling is crazy, man. It's good. We about to start a new puzzle as soon as we stop working as much. But
we do like doing puzzles. Like, and honestly, I think it's even just like, there have been times where I'm done with my work stuff and you're not. And so I will just like grab my book and come cuddle up next to you and just be close. I think that matters too. So, I think that those specific things, like what other, can you think of any other, maybe like, you know what? I think that this is actually a good topic for this one. What about trust?
Ooh, no, we're already 50 minutes in.
Okay, so maybe we'll do,
because we can, but
maybe we'll do a whole separate episode on like trust with your partners, and then maybe even an emphasis on like
because we got rules and regulations around our relationship, that aren't necessarily like controlling or binding, but any like just strength inducing. If that makes sense.
I mean, just putting ourselves in healthy scenarios, and maybe that's where we'll like. We'll leave this topic for now, and we can do a whole other episode on what that looks like, because obviously with my history and like my previous relationships, trust was a really important value coming in, because I thought I had that before and then clearly I didn't. And so again, like some of those things aren't controlling. However, I know when I've shared them in the past, they've been slightly controversial.
Gee willikers, small things like, look, I don't be going out to lunch with any of my female friends unless my wife is coming. Like, it's simple as that. Like, it's not like the world changing, right?
Right.
But we just, for that, I think, again, though, the idea and the premise and maybe the cliff notes of it is we have some barriers in place so that we put our relationship first, right?
Yes.
And again, it's just about respect. It ain't about nothing else. Like, I don't think my female friends are terrible people. I don't even think they like me that way, quite frankly.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, like what makes my wife comfortable and what makes me comfortable, and the signs that we put out that say, hey, I respect you, the little signs, the proactive I respect you signs go a long ways. And so I think we could dive into that maybe at another time. But I also think we could probably take 45 minutes alone
We literally could do a whole episode on like, I actually get a lot of questions from people saying like, how did you actually move on into another relationship after you were burned so badly? And so we could do a whole episode on that. But I just didn't feel like in having a conversation about what makes a relationship strong or what makes a relationship like last, I don't feel like I could do that without saying that
respect and trust has got to be both of those things.
Respecting your partner and trusting your partner. And then also like creating an environment where you can trust each other. Like that is so important to me. And so we can do like a whole new episode on that another time. But whatever you guys think, like if you have any other ideas of things that you think are super important for a relationship, drop it in the comments. Tell us how long you've been in your relationship, what you think has been the biggest difference maker, because it's not the same for everybody. Like it really isn't for us. It really has been communication, connective, like very specific time that we spend together, and then trust and respect and building a relationship around those things.
And then also I think one thing that we need to add is, especially since we're doing this new venture, and I think we could have this conversation briefly, but like, nowadays we spend more time together than ever.
Yes.
But at the same time, we are now working in the same venue, and that looks a little bit different. For the way that you work is different than the way that I work, and the way that I operate is different, vice versa.
Yes.
But it's brought in a whole different wrinkle, because I'll be the first to say I love my wife, and at first it was like kind of tough to hang out all the time because I felt like we were always together and also never together all at the same time.
Yes.
And then sometimes I'd be like, why are you doing it like that? And then,
or why are you just taking a nap?
Or
I am a huge napper. Bedford is not. And I function better if I take a nap. Like if I go in and say I'm laying down for an hour or an hour and a half, I'm going to take a nap. Sometimes he will be dead tired and I'll be like, go take a nap. And he's like, absolutely, I'm not doing that. We are just different people. And so when we were together, like when he would go to work, that wasn't a big deal. Like if the baby was asleep and I was taking a nap, I was taking a nap. But now that he's here,
I'm like, yo, what's going on here?
Yeah, he's like,
we just chilling. We got all this stuff to be doing.
And I'm like, I'll do it 10 times faster as soon as I wake up. And that used to be a huge fighting point for us because we operate differently. Like we do things differently. And so I'm like, listen, as soon as I wake up, I'll go a million miles an hour and I'll get it done. But right now I am incapable of doing that. And
then on the flip side, she'd be like, hey man, you're about to burn yourself out. You are burning the midnight oil. It's 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. You still grinding on this. They're going to be a worse father and a worse husband for it because you're going to be tired and grumpy. And I'd be like, look, hon, it's not like I'm actually going to sleep. Like I'm just going to be frustrated. And, and so we've had to communicate different styles of functioning.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that we could have benefited from probably earlier in our marriage. We just didn't realize it because we weren't spending the most of the day together.
Yeah. I think that understanding like how your partner
functions,
operates, how they give love, how they enjoy receiving love, like all of those things, like truly understanding who your partner is at their core.
How they generate and how they use energy, because that's the one that we missed on.
Oh, yeah.
Like, we didn't know that for nothing. And I'm like, you are insane. That's not working.
Yes.
And,
Yes. And that was, again, it was like, I was like, I'm going to bed at 9 o'clock. I was tired. I was going to bed. And he would stay up until like 3 or 4 in the morning working. And I'd be like, you have got to stop. Like, you are going to burn out. I'm going to get the worst of you. Like, you're going to be grumpy. It's going to be a nightmare. And then he was like, you clearly just don't want this because you aren't trying. You're just going to bed. When in reality, but then once we stopped trying to do it together and we were like, fine, let's just do this our own way. Like, you do it the way you want. I'll do it the way that I want. And it worked. And so I think that it's really just about knowing your partner, like really knowing your partner, not knowing how you want them to operate or what you wish they would do different or how you wish they would do things, but just really knowing them.
And the funny thing is like now that we know each other a little bit more in this realm, I feel like we actually work way better together because I'm like, nah, we're getting so much more done.
Yeah. Because when I'm like, I'm taking a nap, he's like, go for it.
Get up out of here. And when I'm like, I'm staying here, she's like, hey, go get him.
I'm going to bed.
And there's no guilt. There's no anger, there's no frustration, and we're running a lot smoother, and we're communicating because it like all of a sudden it's like, no, that's the way my energy works, and that's the way her energy works, and if we do it a different way, then we actually just deplete ourselves, and then nobody be working. And so I think that was a big miss for you. I would even say the 9 years of our marriage is just not even understanding how we function as a human being. I don't think we understood. It took somebody else to look outside and be like, you kind of realize that's how y'all do things, right? And we're like, oh.
Yeah. Well, because even before business, it was like the house would be an actual disaster. And I'd be like, I'm going to take a nap. And you were like, how are you doing this? Like,
I'm going to explode.
How can you look at this house and live like this? And I was like, because like, I'm so tired. And I think it's just because I go 2 million miles an hour. And then finally I'm like, oh, I need a break. Like, and so it's just understanding that, like, how those things work and then being able to work with that person's flow rather than trying to like make them flow the same way as you. So yeah, I think that, you know, our marriage isn't perfect, but I feel like we work really hard. And,
the only thing that's perfect about our marriage, I think, is, I know that she's given it a perfect effort to make it work.
Yeah.
And I hope she feels the same way. And that's it. Like, we're not perfect, and we're going to mess up. We're going to fail, but we are trying. We're giving it the A-game effort. And so I think this is a good place to wrap.
Yeah.
We're at time, I think, but, we got to do the obligatory message, right? So we want y'all to like and subscribe. Okay. Comment if those things kind of help the channel grow. So wherever you're listening to the podcast or watching it, if you'll leave a comment, that'd be phenomenal. We love doing this. It's so much fun. And we'd hope to be able to keep doing it for a while.
Yeah. So if you feel like, you know, something that you heard resonates with you, or you feel like you know somebody that it might resonate with them, please feel free to share.
Yep.
And that's it.
All right. That's it. That's all.